This week, while we're at home enjoying our Thanksgiving dinner and our time off, let's get some practice in with freehand drawing. I went and found this picture of a turkey that I think is pretty funny. I'm going to take it into Photoshop and see if I can try to freehand draw it without tracing it. So I'm going to go into my Photoshop and I'm going to create a new file. And I'm going to do our web and our web large. And I'm just going to hit create. And this will bring up a new blank Photoshop document. I also want to go to File and Open my picture of my turkey. You can find any picture of a turkey you want to online. Now, what I want to do is go back to my blank document. I'm keeping my turkey in Photoshop so I can look at it once in a while to see what I want to do. We can identify the turkey and how we should start drawing by the shapes of the turkey. So let's start by creating a new layer and looking at some of the shapes. I'm going to turn my brush down pretty small, maybe about 4. And then I'm going to get a solid black color. Let's start to identify some of the shapes of the turkey. It looks like his belly is just nothing but a circle. His neck is a rectangle. His head is another circle that's just elongated. His eyes are circles. His beak is a triangle. And his little gullet is a wavy rectangle. His arms are rectangles. And his hands are circles. We can take this kind of knowledge and start to draw our turkey by freehand in our blank Photoshop document. So let's do that. Let's go back and start with a circle. So we'll just draw a circle. Here's the beginning of our turkey. Looks pretty good. Now, let's start to draw his neck. His neck is a rectangle, so I'm going to go off and start to draw his neck. If I make a mistake, I can grab my eraser tool and fix it. His head is an elongated circle, just like we show right here. His eyes are circles. And his beak is a triangle. And his little gullet is a wavy triangle, or a wavy rectangle. Now we have our base of our turkey. Let's go back to our picture and see if we can identify some more shapes. It looks like his thighs are circles, so let's add those in there. And it looks like his arms are rectangles that go at a 90-degree angle. So we can make our arms. Let's just make sure. And then our hands are squares. Then we can make another square for our hand. What we're doing now is getting the base of our turkey. Now we should probably go in and draw his legs. Now we can go draw his tail. Now that we've got the base of our turkey all set, we can go through and start erasing some of the parts we don't need. For instance, when his arm overlaps with his body, it doesn't need to be there. So I'm going to go ahead and make my brush smaller and get rid of this little bar. Same thing down here with the foot that overlaps with the body. And then the face, we got a little bit of work to do here. We're going to take out this section of the beak because the gullet covers it up. And we're going to take out this section of the head because the gullet covers it up. Then we can take out this portion because his eye covers it up. And I think I want to make my left eye, or my right eye, a little bit smaller. So I'm going to come through, erase that, and try to redraw it a little bit better. There we go. That looks much better. So now our turkey has a good base. Now we can go through and start adding in some of the detail, like where his neck meets his body. So we could come in here and start to draw in pieces that come together. Now as we see, our turkey is starting to come together. We can always add more detail, even that's not in our reference photo. For my eyes, I'm just going to make my brush a lot bigger and do one click with the brush tool. Now we should go fix up our hands. Hands can be tricky to draw, but if we break them down like we did with the shapes, it's not so bad. So I'm going to erase what I did on the top of my square. And I'm just going to go through with a much smaller brush and see if I can get the curvature of his knuckles. Then we can go through and add a little bump on the end for his thumb. Maybe we could round off some of these edges a little bit better and it would look more like a... The second hand, or the hand that we can see the fingers, is going to be a little tougher. So what I'm going to try to do is see if I can simulate his fingers by starting from the midsection of the hand and drawing upwards. Now I can come through with my eraser tool and try to round off some of these edges so it looks more like a hand. We're getting better. Now we need to create the little indent that will create his index finger. So I'm going to take my brush and just create the little indent. There we go. We're looking pretty good. So we've got more detail in our turkey now. Now let's take a look at where else we can add detail. He's got some random little feathers going through his little body. So I want to add something like that too. I want to add some little random spots where we might be able to see his little feathers fluttering. That would be pretty cool to see. And it looks like he has some little hairs poking out here as well. So we can just draw little lines to simulate little hairs. Now that we have our turkey fleshed out, we can add our final details, like on our tail. Our tail has this really nice pattern going on here from orange to red to brown. So maybe we want to try to simulate the same thing. Now that we've got all of our line art done, we can start to add color. We're going to use the Paint Bucket Fill tool to add color to our character, or our turkey. And the way that's going to work is we're going to want to go to our Gradient tool, click and hold, and go to our Paint Bucket tool. Now let's look at some of the colors that we have going on here. We have a brown, we have a red, we have an orange, and we have a white. So what I have done now is I've taken my Paint Bucket tool, hold my mouse over the color I want to select, and held Alt. And this will bring up the eyedropper tool. You can use the eyedropper tool to select any color on screen, and it will show up in your color wheel. Then I can go back to my drawing and add that color where I want it. If for some reason the Paint Bucket tool is not working correctly, we can always go through with our brush tool and fill in any spots that might not be able to be done by the bucket tool. So I'll grab my brush, go through and fill in some of these spots that the paint bucket was having some hard trouble with. Now I'm going to go back to my other image and grab this brown color and put it on my character using the bucket tool. Now we've got a turkey that is colored in and looking good. I'm just going to add some final touches and some final retouches to make my turkey look even better. Nice, we've got our turkey drawing. He looks pretty cool. The last thing we can do is add him saying something pretty funny. So I'm going to grab my turkey layer and just move him back a little bit. And then I'm going to get my brush tool, change my color to black, and draw a speech bubble. Now I'm going to grab my text tool, put my text over my new speech bubble, and type something funny. My text is a little bit too big, so I'm going to select all of my text and turn down my size. Nice. We have created our turkey. Our turkey is drawn, we have colored it, and we've added some nice funny text. You can make your turkey say or do anything you want it to do. This is really great practice in learning how to freehand draw. Always remember to file, save your work. We never want to lose all of the hard work that we just did. If you would like to export your turkey after you're done, you can go to File, Export, Export As. In here, we'll change our format to JPG, make sure our quality is great, and hit the Export button. And then we'll save it wherever we want. Now if I go to my desktop, you will see that I have my turkey drawing as a photo.